The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect those of the ANA or its members.
On today's episode of On Scope, Fubo's Jen Monson breaks down why CTV is leveling the playing field when it comes to sports marketing. And speaking of sports, Nike is reimagining its iconic Just Do It tagline. But does it risk alienating a key consumer group? All that next on Scope. Look out, world, because here comes another episode of On Scope, the marketing podcast, brought to you by the ANA and powered by Odyssey, a leading audio streaming platform. You can get your favorite music, podcasts, and entertainment all on the Odyssey app. I am your host, Mike Berberich, and joining me, as always, the producer of On Scope, Ryan Dinger. Ryan, this is an interesting setup. It's not our usual go-to for On Scope.
Yeah, to say the least, Mike, we are not in the same room doing an episode for the first time in the show's history. I got to tell you, buddy, I'm missing you a little bit.
The feeling couldn't be more mutual, but I'm going to tell you something right now. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Ain't no river wide enough to keep me from marketing news we might have missed. What do you got for me, bud?
Well done. Excellent segue. You get better every week, my friend. Yes, that's right. Marketing news you might have missed. This week, we've got a story from ANA Magazine about a brand that you may know and one that you may love. Nike reintroduces iconic rallying cry to reach a new generation. Why do it? Like I said, from ANA Magazine, our own Autumn Miller on the write-up. Talk about a major serve. Nike on Thursday reintroduced its classic Just Do It slogan to a new generation of athletes with the debut of its Why Do It campaign, designed to inspire younger athletes and remind them that anything is possible when backed up by passion and effort. Just Do It isn't just a slogan, it's a spirit that lives in every heartbeat of sport. It's the belief that together we can inspire, unite, and elevate ourselves beyond what we thought possible, says Nicole Graham, EVP and CMO of Nike, in a statement. With Why Do It, we're igniting that spark for a new generation, daring them to step forward with courage, trust in their own potential, and discover the greatness that unfolds the moment they decide to begin. Why Do It is the latest incarnation of the sports and apparel brand's messaging strategy. Just Do It, which launched in 1988, told consumers that anyone can view themselves as an athlete and that they should participate in sports. In 1995, Nike introduced the If You Let Me Play campaign, which showed how access to sports can change girls' lives. This iteration of the campaign includes a 60-second spot that stars a bevy of celebrity athletes, including basketball stars Caitlin Clark and LeBron James, and Saquon Barkley, running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds, baby. So there's the story, Mike. I got to tell you, I'm immediately reminded of something that I think probably was like a cartoon from when we were in high school. So we're going back, ancient.
Expletive deleted. Yeah, don't even worry about the numbers. We don't need to get into
We're going
numbers.
back. But I mean, you tell me if you've ever seen this one before. It's a single panel cartoon, and it's Waldo from the Where's Waldo cartoons. And he's lying in a grassy meadow, looking up. It's nighttime. He's gazing at the stars. And the caption says something very simple. It just says, "Why is Waldo?"
I'm actually happy I haven't heard about that, because if my brain got that bent when I was still in high school, goodness knows what I would be like now. Yikes. But now now it's getting.
Yes.
Wow.
Just Why is Waldo? Why Do It? Nike's new iteration of a classic campaign, one that has been around, mind you, for basically as long as we've been conscious human beings.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Well, it is crazy, and I did come across this ad voiced by none other than Tyler, the Creator, I should add.
Ooh.
So the star power, really, Nike's never had a problem with that. This might be another first for the podcast, but I'm not really sure how I feel about this, because let me start off by saying, Nike has been an absolute brilliant force in the world of marketing. Back in the day, wearing their logo, their brand logo, was a sign that you were one of the cool kids and you knew what was going on. And talk about free marketing. So, I kind of trust when they do something, I tend to trust it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say, very distinct. You're not going to mistake this ad for any other brand than Nike. So that's incredibly important.
Yeah.
I think that it is that brand's typical mix of very poetic, very powerful language. So it does grab your attention and leave an effect. All of that plus, 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 plus. Here is where I'm not sure how things will roll out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to paraphrase the 60-second ad, but it's essentially saying, "Oh, this is hard work. This is a lot of struggle. This is sacrifice. This is giving up things that other people don't give up, and you can give it your all." This one I'm actually quoting verbatim. You can give it your all and still lose.
Mm.
But Tyler, the creator, poses at the very, very end. What if you don't? Now that's very inspiring, but that is very relevant to a defined part of the population. And I don't even think that applies to everybody who likes playing sports. That is really a message for elite athletes who want to make that a major part of their life, to the point of where Tyler's bringing this up. They're sacrificing things that others don't sacrifice. They're working harder for all of that. I do believe that's a great message for everybody, but there are a lot of people who wear sporting apparel. There are a lot of people who wear sneakers. And for a very important consumer segment, this messaging really doesn't mean anything. And
Mm-hmm.
what I mean by that is our 50 and 60 plus consumers who, you know, uh, fitness is incredibly important to them. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they're taking up walking or jogging or hiking for the very first time. They need good sneakers. They need that good support. I don't know anybody, 55, 65, listening to Tyler say, "You're going to give it your all and you're still not going to get anything about this," and say, "You know what? That's the brand for me. I want to go and see what Nike can do to help me take lovely little hikes 3 times a week."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point. I mean, in the article, they basically state that the campaign is designed to inspire younger athletes,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
seems to go against their ethos because later on, the same article notes that in 1988, Nike told consumers that anyone can view themselves as an athlete and that they should participate in sports. So Nike launched Just Do It with this sort of ethos that anyone can be an athlete and anyone can participate. And now they've taken this turn and
Hmm.
they're saying we're going for the younger athletes. We want to inspire young people. I'm reminded, Mike, you bring up a good point. I'm reminded of a past episode of On Scope when we had Michael Clinton on. And that episode we dubbed it "Why 18 to 49 Ain't It Anymore." Right?
Hmm.
The death of the demographic. You can't focus on these younger audiences anymore. Michael in that episode brought up some interesting statistics.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you have these.
Oh
You're
yes,
so
yes, I've done my
reliable, Ryan. My
thank you.
goodness.
Yes, I'm producing, baby. Uh, one of those was from the AARP, which found that the 50 plus population will rise to 132 million Americans by 2030, and those individuals will drop $26 trillion into the economy by 2050. As it turns out, in that episode, Michael uses Nike as an example of a brand that has been neglecting the older audience. And he notes that like the data has shown that these individuals have gone toward Hoka for their sports shoes because they feel like they don't really fit in the Nike demographic anymore. We did that episode that came out in February, I want to
Yep.
say. We're now into
Yep.
September. And Nike's saying not only have we acknowledged that we're losing an older demographic, we're not interested in engaging with them anymore with this new campaign. I don't know why you can't do both, I guess, is
Hmm.
really my question, especially when you're a brand like Nike and you have the resources that a Nike does and you have the star power that a Nike does. why can't you do a campaign with an athlete, a retired athlete, let's say, who's aging gracefully and still being active in all these things that athletes are, while not playing at the height of their sport anymore, or maybe not playing their sport at all anymore. They're just doing this to stay healthy and all those things. I It feels a little short-sighted to me, I guess, when you look at the economic opportunity and you look at what's happened with Nike and the older audience already. You have to wonder, like, and to your point, this is a brand that's got a ton of data. They know what they're doing. They're
I
very
was gonna
successful.
say, yeah.
So clearly they're seeing something in their internal data that says, like, this is the direction we have to go. Um, but from the outside looking in and without being privy to those numbers, it's a curious choice, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I want to give the benefit of the doubt. This is the first ad in this campaign. We don't know where Nike's going with this, but you do bring up a very good point, I feel like. And I'm quickly heading toward the demographic that Nike is currently not speaking to. So I don't remember this 100% clearly, but I really do feel like in most of the Nike ads in the past, they would bridge this. Yes, you'd see
Mhm.
LeBron dunking, and we brought him back again. We're gonna do it once every 3
Yes.
episodes. I'm gonna
He's a
mention
star of the show at this
Bron.
point.
We love you, Bron. But like I would just remember like, oh, elite athlete, oh, young up and comer, oh, somebody in their senior years lacing up and doing some activity. Because if you really break it down, especially for folks who may have gotten sedentary, maybe at that point where the doctor's telling them they need to get off their rear ends,
Mhm.
that is a big that's a big challenge too. You need perseverance too. You need to sacrifice some things too. Like there's a pretty easy bridge to build. So
Yeah.
it'll be very interesting to see if that is in Nike's plans for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I guess what we're asking for here is a look into Nike's future playbook, as it
Oh,
were.
yes. Yes,
Yes.
indeed. And while we're waiting on that playbook, Ryan, would it surprise you to know that I've got another playbook that we can look into right now on this episode of On Scope, the marketing podcast?
Oh, well, tell me more. Tell me more. I'm very interested.
Well, you know what? Back in the day, in the linear TV era, brands like Nike would be one of the very few players that could really monopolize the golden opportunity that is sports marketing because they have these incredible budgets and incredible connections. However, our guest today is here to shine some light on a new channel that is leveling the playing field for brands big and small alike. And we have none other than Jen Monson, the SVP of ad sales for Fubo, a CTV streaming app. She's going to break down all of the different ways that brands of any budget can get involved in CTV and critically, how to avoid impression overload. And I know my listeners know exactly what I'm talking about right now. You're streaming your show, and for the ninth time in 20 minutes, you're seeing the same ad.
Yes.
There's a
One of the
better
most
way.
irritating experiences of streaming.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Talk about spending a lot of money to get somebody to hate you.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a better tomorrow. And Jen and I are about to show you how. My conversation with Jen Monson is up next.
Listeners, I'm no fortune teller, but I have a sneaking suspicion we're about to be in for a good time. I have with me today in the pod Jen Monson, Vice President of Ad Sales at Fubo. Jen, thank you so much for stopping by the studio.
Thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to be here.
That makes two of us because I really like this. We're talking about something that has been a mainstay in marketing, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't changed over the years. And we got to get our marketers smart on this, Jen, do we not?
We do, because it evolves and it's constantly changing.
And that's why we're here.
That's why we're here, to help them through the process of the ever-evolving media sports landscape, right?
And there it is.
There it is.
Sports marketing.
Yes,
that
beat you to
is
it.
the golden. I love it, actually. This is a first that our guest was the one to serve up the topic. We're evolving along with sports marketing right here.
We'll use the puns.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So, I'm about to say a bunch of stuff that our listeners already know. TV used to be 3 channels. Then it became 35 channels. Now it's 1,200 platforms of all kinds and niches. One thing has been pretty stable throughout, and that is the attention-grabbing urgency of live sporting events and the opportunity that it presents for marketers.
Yes.
However, in that time, in the digital streaming age, nothing can stay exactly as it is forever. So from your perspective at Fubo, I would love to know, how has engagement with live sports evolved in the digital age?
It's a great question. It's evolved, to your point, coming from these mass, large reach vehicles that was on 3 networks prior, where it was really cost prohibitive especially for smaller brands.
Oh, yeah.
Not only cost prohibitive, but then there were category exclusions. You maybe got shut out if you were an opposite brand. But now that we've evolved and there are these 1,200 different platforms and streaming, obviously the space that we're in CTV, has really democratized sports for all advertisers of all budget size, regional advertisers, national advertisers. And I think that's what makes it so exciting, is that it's accessible for advertisers, and they also get better data now than they've ever had before, better insights and more precision and less waste. But mostly what I think the biggest piece is that you don't need that multi-million-dollar budget to get into sports. I mean, that's the key piece, is that you can get in at a much lower level into these big marquee events that people are still gravitating towards, and have the biggest eyeballs and the best engagement and reach and scale at a much lower price. So it's a really exciting time to be in CTV and sports advertising.
Absolutely. And I think the opportunity is actually kind of good for the consumer too. You know how it's like top 40 radio? You're going to get the 7 same songs over and over all day long.
Oh, yes.
In certain big things back in the day, there were like 10 brands and you were going to hear from them. Now there's this opportunity to learn about what brands might be right for what consumers. So there is like an enhanced matchmaking opportunity.
100%. And that's the addressability part, is that you're actually serving a consumer content that they want to see within an ad break. So if I'm a mom with 2 kids, I might be getting a packaged goods or a, Hers brand or something like that. Whereas you might be seeing something totally different for that. It suits your interests and your needs, which makes it really exciting to be able to get down to reach that consumer. It's still in that big game.
Yes. Yeah. And it's really, I think it's important that brands understand their place into people are already engaged. They're excited.
Right.
Their energy
They're
is
leaning
up
forward.
here.
Right.
The opportunity to capitalize on that and not kind of pour cold water on it is a big thing. And that actually leads me to the next thing I'd love to talk about. So we have the opportunity to reach. Now it's time to think about creative.
Yeah.
And I'd like to ask you, where do brands go wrong when they approach sports marketing creative?
So I'll turn it on its head a little bit and talk about when they do it right. Because I think when it's right, it's natural. It's a really good brand partnership. A lot of times the DNA of maybe an athlete that they're using in their creative and the brand just inherently go together. The messaging is right. It doesn't feel forced. And it has, mutually beneficial on both sides, for both the athlete, for the brand, for the consumer. It works all around. And it doesn't feel forced. And I think those are when it really, really works well. And you think of a lot of creatives. I mean, I just, off the top of my head, I think of like Peyton Manning, and he's done so many good commercials. And he's very natural because of his humor. And they lean into that humor with different brands. And they do it really, really well. So flipping that on its head, I think that's when it feels more forced. And they just want to sign a big name and kind of get the press. And it comes off flat.
Yeah.
So I think really making sure that you're using that shared DNA and making sure it has all the elements down the funnel too. So not just for reach and for visibility and brand recognition, but then also kind of going down the funnel for social and pushing it out onto all the different platforms and making sure you're getting creative that works for each platform as well.
Yes. Yeah, and I really think you make a very good point about finding like the match, and like the biggest celebrity is not necessarily your best bet.
Right.
I think you find somebody on whatever tier, I'm not going to degrade people, but there are levels of fame and notoriety that actually engages with your brand or actually engages with your category.
Yes.
I bring him up a lot, and we love LeBron James to death here. But you being his 53rd sponsorship, what is that really getting you?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it just kind of comes out in the wash. You don't stand out.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. So this is actually something that has interested me as a marketing geek. So linear TV and CTV have a lot of similarities, obviously.
Yeah.
But they are not the same.
No, they are not.
So I want to ask you, are there any formatting or thematic differences to an effective linear ad and an effective CTV ad?
100%, yes. So, you had mentioned earlier that my career, I started in linear. I was in linear for a very long time, almost 2 decades I worked in linear. And now I've been at Fubo for over 2 years working in the CTV space. And I think the biggest thing, just since I've been on both sides of the table on this, is really the flexibility of the ads. So we're able to be super addressable, like getting down to that singular person. If they're in the Southeast, their passion, female, has kids, we can really be super, super precise in targeting. But then kind of going back up, we can do pause ads. One of the things that Fubo does really, really well is we have something called home screen takeovers. So it's above the fold. You get a huge presence on our home screen, a big brand takeover. We're able to be super customizable. That also can drive with a QR code to purchase. So you can go down the funnel there. So there's a lot of different things that you can do in terms of formatting of creative on CTV and try different things. We do interactive ads. Gamified ads, carousel ads, those have been super popular and really effective in terms of engagement. We see huge increases in engagement when we do that versus a standard 30. So people are interacting with those ads. They like them. They want to see the result or see what the next, they're used to doing it now also on their TV. It's just second nature. I know I do it myself. So that, I think, is the biggest difference, is the ad formats versus, and I know linear has them too, but they're not able to be as targetable as they are on CTV.
Yeah, I actually, this past week, had a really cool experience where I'm not going to name any names of the things, even though I'm complimenting them right now. But an insurance company gave me the option of 3 of their ads. And which one would I like to choose? And that tiny little psychological, well, I picked this, made that ad go by like.
And you also remembered it.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
so
indeed.
That's what the whole payoff is that you're going to remember what that ad was for, what was the outcome, what did you choose, what did you like it, did you have a good experience? And that's what brands need to really engage with and try these formats. You know, they're flexible. That's another nice part about CTV, is that there's flexibility, there's ease of creative, there's just speed. So that's the beauty of CTV, is you can get in and out. You can test different creatives and see in different areas what's working for me, what's not. And if it's not, you can pivot and try a different creative. So I think that's, it's really exciting because you can test and learn. And I know pharma brands have really done well with CTV and leaning into CTV and figuring out what worked, what doesn't work. Does this creative work? So they've been really smart in doing that. And I think a lot of other brands are well, we know that a lot of other brands are doing that because we're seeing a pretty big influx in CTV advertisers that had never spent before. So it's exciting.
That is exciting. You know, and what I appreciate is about this conversation that we're having right this very second is that when a new platform or a new channel or a new thing comes up on a marketer's thing, the first thing is, oh my God, another thing. I like on this show when we're able to kind of flip that and be like, no. Let's have some fun here.
Yeah.
Let's see this as an opportunity. Like, this is to be able to do something. You're already linear TV minded. now you combine that, break out of the shackles that you're usually under. There's a lot of opportunity for play here.
100%. You should experiment. And to our earlier point in the conversation is that there's less of an ad requirement or a media spend. You can be creative and try different things and lean in and experiment while still keeping your brand identity and doing what's important for your messaging, for your consumers and for your brand. But try different platforms, try different methods. It's less of a lead time, less of a commitment, and you can still be in sports in great properties. And that's what's exciting, is that you can test and learn and really be flexible and experiment. And I don't think when you quote unquote fail, that's okay. Mm-hmm. You're learning from that. That didn't work, but what will work next time and pivot. So I think those are all exciting things.
Yeah. If you're not failing, you're not trying enough.
Correct.
Done.
I agree.
Listeners, stick around, because when we come back, we're going to talk getting frequency right with sports fanatics who are on there day after day. You're not going to want to miss it. Ryan.
Yeah, Mike?
I have a small favor to ask of you.
Okay. Yeah, what's up?
Can I borrow $26.8 billion?
$26.8 billion. I don't know if I'm good for that much, buddy. The show's doing well, but it's not doing that well.
Oh, that's a shame. It's just, I know that that's how much money marketers leave on the table every year when it comes to programmatic media spend. And I thought if I could hit them back, it'd just be a good look for the show.
Wait a second. You're telling me marketers leave $26.8 billion on the table with programmatic media spend every year?
Yes, Ryan, every year, $26.8 billion left on a table, apparently a very sturdy table. But this is what is not reaching the customer every year, programmatic media spend.
26.8 billion with a B.
With a B.
That's
a lot.
Quite a large number.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, okay. I can't hit up the marketing industry with $26.8 billion.
There are a few people who can, my
to
friend.
make good. Okay. There has to be something we can do.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
What?
I had an idea.
I'm glad you did.
The ANA has a business practice that actually focuses on this specifically.
Well, knock me over with a feather. Tell me more about it.
Yes. Mike, why didn't we think of this sooner? The ANA media practice. It's where brands take on the waste, $26.8 billion a year. They take on that waste head on.
My goodness. I mean, does that include CTV and retail media and influencer and programmatic transparency? Is that all of that?
CTV, retail media, influencer, programmatic transparency. Wherever there's waste, you can find it and eradicate it.
I love this so much. This feels like some sort of hub for smarter media, cleaner supply chains, and billions in efficiency.
Apparently literally billions in efficiency gains.
Yes.
26.8 billion to be gained back, as it were, every single year. Yeah, the ANA's media practice. I don't know why we didn't think of this sooner.
We're busy guys. We got a lot going on up here, but we came to it, and my goodness. Listen, if you like wasting $26.8 billion a year, this ad is not for you. For everybody else who wants to join the movement to get more of those ad dollars in front of the customer, for goodness sake, I have just the place for you to go.
Tell them.
I want you to check out ana.net/media. That's ana.net/media. And now, back to our show.
I think I do got like $60 in cash on me if you need it.
A $5 would be great. I'm just jonesing for coffee.
Awesome.
Friends, we are back. This is On Scope, the marketing podcast. In the studio today with me, Jen Monson, Vice President of Ad Sales at Fubo. Jen, I want to ask a question that I've experienced this. I was just talking about a great experience that I've had on CTV. This has been a less than great experience I've had on certain platforms. How do brands avoid impression overload among avid sports fans who catch every game their team plays? Like NFL, that's one thing, once a week. Baseball, 162 games. The NBA season feels like it's 3 years long to me. So how do avid sports fans who are there every day, how do you reach them with the frequency and have some modicum of control over that?
Yeah, I've had the same experience. I think we all have, where you just get that same ad over and over and over again, which is why I think frequency caps are super important. And in making sure that they are enforced, we at Fubo really make sure that we keep our frequency caps so we don't have that bad experience with our viewers. But I would also say, kind of going back to our previous conversation, not old, about trying the different ad formats. So reaching the viewers in places where maybe they wouldn't expect it. So maybe it's giving them that insurance ad that you were saying, choose your ending. Interacting with them in different ways, whether it's a home screen takeover, or if it's a pause ad, or if it's one of the things that we have is a marquee where they can put their brand creative and let it sit next to our other content on our platform. So, being in unexpected ways, I think is really how you can kind of get rid of that brand fatigue of just running the same 15 or 30-second creative over and over and over again. That definitely helps.
Absolutely. Does Fubo has there ever been a situation, and I don't know if you, let's just see, has there ever been a situation where Fubo steps in and recommends a frequency cap, where somebody comes in, has a pretty hefty budget, and just hasn't mentioned that they would like to put guardrails on? Because that has to affect the Fubo experience.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, we do. We have a standard frequency cap. So we recommend that to advertisers. Sometimes they're more strict. Sometimes they're looser, and we say, no, we think you should go with this. But if they want to loosen it up a bit, but not too much more beyond that, so that we make that recommendation to clients. And that's what we do, is we'll come in, and when we build a media schedule with them, we want to be partners with them and build something that works from a 15, 30-second creative, whether it's the interactive formats, really build something that is that full funnel experience for a fan. So, because our fans are these avid sports fans, and they're watching, I think we had like 1.7 billion hours of content watched on Fubo last year. So they're watching a lot of sports on Fubo. I'm a Knicks fan, and I watched with that 3-year. Yeah. So I watched a lot of Knicks games this year, so I can totally attest on Fubo. Yeah. So you don't want to have a bad experience. You want to have a good experience as a brand. So do it in a fun and use your partners as a guide to help you build that best schedule.
So this has already kind of opened my mind to the possibilities around CTV. I will be very honest. I was one of the people who are like, okay, it's linear TV and there's some address. Okay, great. Now I'm realizing that you really can play around with this. You really can do it like a little bit of world building, a little bit of actual premium content creation. There are a lot of opportunities here. This is not just another channel. So I was wondering if you could share a case study that shows, because this was one of the things that you mentioned in an earlier conversation. I think we touched on it. One of the advantages of CTV is the ability to start small, see what's working, and scale up. And, for you were saying earlier, now SMBs can get into the sports marketing game. Do you have a case study that shows us how a brand can start small, then expand when it comes to CTV sports marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I think this is one of the things that we do best, is I love to be truly like a partner with brands and test and learn and work with them from day one. So I was thinking of this one brand in particular. It's energy type drink, kind of new to the market, making its name out there, really looking in the beginning with us to do a very sports. It's obviously an energy drink, trying to reach athletes, sports, people who are into health and working out. So they came to us more regionalized, not a big budget, and only wanted to do a brand awareness campaign in that area, and had a small budget. And we worked with them to really identify who those viewers are in that market. It was started, I think it was like a $25,000 campaign over 5 months. Not a lot of money.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we ran over 5 months. We tested and learned. We did different sports. We had anything from NFL to pickleball to college, basketball. We had all different sports in there to see what performed well. After the end of the 5 months, they really appreciated how we worked with them and partnered with them. They came in and actually started testing some of the new formats and said, let's do this. Let's take it to the next level. And they were our first pause ad advertiser on Fubo. We rolled it out last August. They were our inaugural partner. And we were really excited about them jumping in both feet. And it grew to be a 6-figure budget. And what we found at the end, it was over the course of almost 8 or 9 months, maybe towards the end of the year, 6-figure budget. And we did those studies. We did a brand study. We did an EDO study. And we showed that there was more engagement, that they had 91% more incremental reach than the linear spots. They had 41% more engagement. So they really had the stats and the data to prove that this worked. My marketing message is being seen by sports fans, who my target audience, and that's why they doubled down and grew their budget. So I think it's that marriage of creative, testing, learning, and then innovation and trying new things. That's where the magic happens, and the magic sauce in it. So, kudos to them for taking that journey with us and really testing and learning.
Oh my goodness. So that is just so amazing, because I'm sure there are marketers listening to this that up to this point are like, yeah, but I only have $100,000 to spend. Well, guess what? You can try now.
Correct. You get a lot of bang for your buck for $100,000,
Sure sounds like it.
Absolutely. There's the big brands are spending obviously millions, and that's to go back to our original conversation.
Yeah.
That was the initial challenge with live sports, is that you had to have these multi-million-dollar campaigns to get into sports, and now you don't. And that's the beauty of CTV and what we're doing now, and what makes it so exciting is that you can do really cool things with not a lot of money and really make a big impact on your brand and on sales, obviously.
Talk about leveling the playing field.
Oh, there's that pun. I like it.
Come on now.
Good. You nailed it.
Jen, this has been such a delight. I legitimately feel like a smarter marketer now. So that is the purpose of this show.
I appreciate it.
I really thank you for stopping by. It's been a pleasure having you as a guest on Scope.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, here we are again at the end of another episode of On Scope, the marketing podcast. I want to thank my guest, Jen Monson from Fubo, for an absolutely delightful conversation about a channel, a medium that marketers need to take notice on. And I just really loved, I meant it when I say it. I feel like a smarter marketer right now when it comes to CTV. And that's all thanks to you, Jen. So hope to have you back on the show shortly. As a reminder, if you've got a topic or guest that you'd like to see on a future episode of On Scope, go ahead and shoot us a note. We'd love to hear from you. That email address, onscope@ana.net. And as always, here is your moment of marketing meditation. Take a deep breath, relax those shoulders, and consider the following from author Stephen Covey. Effective people are not problem-minded. They're opportunity-minded. They feed opportunities and starve problems. Think on that, and we'll see you next week.
This has been a presentation of ANA Studios.